All right, what's up, everybody? It's your coach. Right back at it again. Today, we're going to discuss my 3-step system. I came up with a system to help parents on how I educate kids and how I get them.
What's up, everybody? It's your coach.
To be able to build confidence and give hope is everything. It's your coach.
This is a system that has proved a lot of success in the kids that I work with, even on the most untalented kids, because the talented kids are pretty much going to do very well with everybody. But when you have kids that are kind of in the middle or don't have that much talent or just started playing or are really young, this 3-step system has been very successful for me. So the 3-step systems, there's 3 processes to this. Number 1, you got the discipline. Number 2, you got the fun. And number 3, player development. So let's take each one of them one at a time. So let's start with the discipline. In everything you do, I feel that human beings, we need discipline. In everything, even when you party, even when you hang out, even when you play video games, you need some kind of discipline. You just can't play and do whatever you want because it won't be successful. So in the baseball field, right from the beginning, I do my very, very, very best to do something that I called set the tone. So when kids come up to the field, the number one disciplining tool I use is kids have to carry their own equipment. Now, parents, do not overly pack your kid's bag that has a million things. I see that done a lot of times that the poor kid can't even carry it himself. So that way you have to do it. But it should be simple, especially with nowadays rules. 1 helmet, 1 bat, a glove, and that's it. That's how we should approach this. Kids have to carry their own equipment. I cannot tell you the correlation between undisciplined kids, spoiled kids that have behavioral problems in school that got solved, that I've had parents come and tell me that have gotten solved because their kid started carrying his own bag, started being responsible for his own stuff, and he started taking his academics, and he started taking order, started taking direction way better than he had done his whole life. And I think that's something that gets to show for a lot of things. So let's remember the importance of discipline right from the beginning. You come in, I set the tone for what's about to happen and for what we're going to accomplish. And I don't think we're taking the time to do that. I think a lot of coaches, a lot of parents who are coaches expect that a kid has a baseball uniform on, that he knows exactly what to do. And I think that can't be further from the truth, especially in the young stages. Take a whole practice to learn dugout behavior. In that same practice, you teach how to hustle inside of the dugout. That same practice, you teach how we're going to warm up, how we're going to get to the field, how we're going to cheer our team on. If you take one practice, a whole practice, just to do that, you would be amazed how far your kids will go. Now, I'm not saying go in there like a drill sergeant and be like, go, move, let's go. But the way you talk to kids, how you enunciate your words and the energy behind it is, in my opinion, something that's very, very useful. It's a useful resource, and it's something that I feel coaches and parents don't use. And I think we should use. And then we come with the discipline. So, discipline again. You get to the field, you tell them what's expected of them. Not by telling them, you show them how they should behave, how they should set up, how they should approach the practice. Very important. I do not allow kids to throw their own equipment. They're not throwing their bats. They're not throwing their gloves. One of the classic things I tell kids is when I say switch or go to the field and I see kids throw their equipment, I say, whoa, wait a minute, buddy. When you pay for your equipment, then you throw it. But for now, that costs your parents a lot of money. So that costs your parents a lot of money. So place it on the fence, place it in the dugout. That is super important. That's the discipline side. You don't talk back to a coach. You don't humiliate other teammates. You're not looking in the stands the whole time for your parents. We are here to play a game, and we go through the process. Now, there are some kids, especially if you're dealing with 4 or 5-year-olds, that still have some dependency on their parents, and it takes them a while. But it starts by educating the parents that the discipline is the most important thing. For my experiences, the majority of kids that have that separation anxiety or they're very spoiled or they almost like have this victim thing to them, it's the parents that when they walk, I see it, they walk all the way with their kid. They're holding the kid's hands. Now, I can understand holding your child's hand in the parking lot, but you can't hold a 5-year-old's hand, a 6-year-old's hand to go play a game, because there's something that does that it's almost like a crutch, that dependency that the kid can't go from that experience of having his hand held and carried and talked to like this and very mushy and very so we're going to play and we're going to have a good game. And then here comes a coach out of nowhere. All right, hustle, let's go to the fields. It's very contradicting. So parents, set the tone from the car. That is huge. From the car, you start training the kid verbally with what's about to happen in a positive way. We're going to have a great game today. We're going to focus. We're going to do your best to win. And it starts right now. And you're telling them this while you're in the car. So that way the transition from home, car, field isn't so drastic that if something goes wrong in the field, the kid wants to go back to car mode and happy mode and lovey mode and no problem mode. The main reason why we play the sport, and we're going to talk about this later, is it's one of the avenues that we can teach our kids to deal with things that I find extremely important, which is failure, adversity, challenges, things that help us in that 4-letter word called life. So discipline sets the tone with that. Then we go to the have fun stage. You can't have fun without the discipline, because then guess what happens? They don't know how to have fun. So it's going to become a disaster. So we got the discipline, then we start having fun. The fun part of it is, to me, I equivalent fun with the verbal reward. I do a verbal reward system where I really reward the kids for good behavior. Where I really reward the kids for good behavior. Good behavior, which is hustling, good attitude, effort, not worried about success. And when they do perform successfully, I cheer them on even more. Because I found if there's one thing that human beings like, and they still haven't found a way to replace this yet, is verbal reward. That reward that you're doing great, that reward that you accomplish something is the best. And I am the biggest cheerleader kids can have. I cheer for them so much, and I do it loud so that their parents can hear them, so that the other teammates can hear them. And that is the factor that kids are like, man, this is a good time. This is something fun. This is something cool. And that gets them to go to the next level. So that fun factor, super important, the fun factor. Now that we're having fun, here comes the player development. I've noticed that because the kids are having so much fun, they get into it more. And once kids get into it more, then I can come and make sure I can now develop them with more technique, more things to do. I can now start challenging them because they are hooked. And we can't get to the player development side if kids aren't hooked. they're going to get checked out immediately. That's why a lot of people, I think a mistake a lot of people make is they just drop the kids off on the field and they expect something to happen. And I think the kid psychology runs differently. I think kids need discipline, and they're going to appreciate you for the discipline. But then once they're disciplined, but instead of usually discipline, we associate with something negative. But if we associate discipline with something that we need, something that's cool, something that's fun, like how can discipline be fun? Because you make it fun with the verbal reward right after, with a positive attitude right after, with that encouragement right after. Then what happens is that kids get hooked to that, just like adults do. When was the last time somebody told you, "What's up, Joe? Man, you're doing a great job as a coach. You're doing a great job as a parent. Hey, man, I wanted to talk to you. You're doing a great job as a banker, as a doctor, as an accountant." Nobody wants to verbally reward anybody. And you switch it. You start verbally rewarding. The kids get hooked on that. And then comes the player development. How to throw more, how to hit better, how to use more of your body, how to understand the game more, how to run from position to position, how to be a teammate, how to be a leader. All these little things we start instilling in these kids with the 3-step system. Remember, if you're a new coach, you have a new kid, install the 3-step system. It'll do wonders to you. Discipline, fun, player development. It's your coach. Or I want you to comment below, which of the 3 do you guys like best? Do you guys like the discipline? Do you guys like the fun? Or you guys like player development? Thank you for tuning in. It's your coach.